welcome to the Hunt Fish Travel Podcast, the first and longest running female hosted hunting podcast. When she's not arguing with boss hens or convincing gobblers that her box call is the sexiest, she's helping you navigate your trip of a lifetime. And now, here's your hostess, Carrie Zilka.
Welcome to the Hunt Fish Travel Podcast. I am your hostess, Carrie Zilka, and we are talking today to Trisha Steffen, who I've known for several years, and we share a love of sturgeon spearing. Maybe more than a love, maybe a slight obsession.
Yes, we do.
Maybe more than slight, like a lot, like for freaking
unhealthy.
Real. You don't even know.
With a fish.
With dinosaurs, like y'all think you had obsessions with dinosaurs when you were a kid? Ha!
Right.
So, Trisha, you're a field correspondent at Ultimate Outdoors Radio. You do a couple of different things. Why don't we just briefly introduce you to the listeners?
Okay. So, what I do any random thing that pops up. Pretty easy going. I do field correspondence for Ultimate Outdoors Radio. It's kind of a tongue twister to me. Dabble in some freelance writing. And I am leaving my nursing job, and I'm an RN, prenatal care coordinator, and breastfeeding lactation consultant, and I'm leaving that to be home so I can do more of this stuff.
Wow.
And essential oil guru, which is just, a whole hodgepodge of a bunch of different things. So I'm diving into the writing and oil biz full time and being home with the family.
That's awesome. Good for you. That is crazy.
Thanks.
So you have two children, and one of them...
I do.
One of them is going to be as nutty as Mama Trisha and Auntie Carrie when it comes to sturgeon spearing.
You got it. She is. Oh, my goodness. I was going to post a picture. I'll have to share it with you. She had to do a science project and pick something else and totally redid it. Like, they had 3 months to do it. She's been working on this other one, and all of a sudden we went and saw the spawning this couple weeks ago of the sturgeon, and she says, I'm changing it. And she did a whole 3-month project in 3 days off of memory of all the times we've been sturgeon spearing now.
Oh, my gosh, that's crazy. That is super cool.
Yeah, she loves it.
That's cool. So what about sturgeon spearing do you find the most fascinating?
I think the history, it blows my mind that this has been right under our noses all these years, and until we went to Fond du Lac and invited to the media event, that I didn't know about this. Did you know about it? I didn't know about it.
Never heard of it in my life until 6 years ago when we had the first Women on Winnebago event. Yeah. I was like, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
What? And then you see them and you're like, holy shit, I need to have one. I need to get one of these.
Right.
Like,
I need to stare down that hole for however many hours or 6 hours. I need to do that.
No
Sign
kidding,
me
right?
up.
Oh my God.
Trying to explain it to people are like, well, how many did you see or how many did you get? I'm like, what? No, I didn't see any. What?
I know. Yeah, totally. Well, how many have you speared? None. How many years have you been going? Like 7.
Yeah.
And you're still going back?
Really?
Yep. You just don't even know.
Every year. More and more involved.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, and what drives somebody to do that is the history. It's so crazy. That first year, I was hooked, hearing all those people talk about the sturgeon, lake sturgeon, nearly becoming extinct in that lake to some degree, and how they figured out a way, just the fishermen, not even, the DNR initially, the fishermen got together and did this. They found a person to do hatching, and it's crazy.
Yes. And for the listeners who have been living under a rock and have not listened to my 800 freaking episodes about sturgeon spearing, you can go back. Just go to carriezilka.com and just search sturgeon spearing, and you will come up with several articles, several episodes detailing one of Wisconsin's most successful conservation efforts in the history of the state, honestly. Because like Trisha said, the way being on the brink of extinction here, and the whole thing was the fisheries couldn't figure out how to because what is it? The eggs are super sticky and they
How to
couldn't get
stock
them. Yeah, and they couldn't get them to like stick or something. I don't know. It's this huge, long, convoluted, very intricate story, and it's amazing.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
And to hear, the people that were involved are quite elderly at this point. They're getting up there.
Yep.
Bill, I interviewed him 2 years ago, and Bill Casper, he was one of the original that went around with his little petition around the lake, like, hey guys, we need to fix this. And just to hear him tell that story I can listen to it. Well, we've listened to it how many times, like every year. I was like, hey, let's go talk to Bill. Let's see what he's got going on.
Yeah.
But he made the comment that his goal, what he would love to see in his lifetime, would have been his ultimate goal, was for the stocking to get so good and for the population to be so thriving that they could start stocking Lake Michigan. And 2 years ago, he had told me that they were either starting or going to be starting it that spring. So he was just tickled, and I thought that was pretty amazing to get to that point.
That is so cool. Could you imagine?
It is.
Could you imagine the size that they could get to in Lake Michigan?
In Lake Michigan, right,
God.
like they used to. So back to Sturgeon Bay and all those places that, whatever time, before our time, dinosaur time,
right?
They were there.
Because people don't even understand how old and ancient these fish are. And I know I get a lot of, I can't believe you want to spear something that's 100 years old. And I'm like, please.
Yep.
It's, the odds of spearing one for one thing is pretty minimal. So.
What did they say? Like 12%, 12 to 14% of the people on that lake are successful. So it's a pretty, but each year your eyes get trained more. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But we actually had some action this year. Like there was the first year where a shadow might have happened, but and I don't know if I ever saw one. I really don't think I did, but this year we did. We did see some. Yep.
We had some folks up from down south, which was a lot of fun. We had Rob and Emily Sharkey from Illinois, and Emily saw one like within, I don't know, a few minutes of opening hour. Like as soon, like,
so crazy.
I know. And then she was all mad because I forget if they were just like, you're like, wait, what just happened?
You don't get time to think about and process that.
Don't.
Yeah.
And then we had a couple of guys from Alabama. Oh my gosh, it was so fun having some out-of-staters.
It was. It was nice. That was great that you got to bring them all up. And great people. Way to pick some people.
So, opening day, shanty counts, more than 5,000 shacks. More than 5,000 shacks on Lake Winnebago. That's insane.
It's bigger than most little Wisconsin towns around here.
I know.
Out on one lake at the same time.
Right.
It's something else. Like, most people can relate to deer season and the buildup of that and the camaraderie and the history and the heritage of, opening weekend of deer season, which I totally get. That's been a huge part of my life. Nothing compares to opening of Sturgeon Spearing. So even if you're listening and you never experienced this and you're like, I don't know if I can go sit out on a lake and stare down a dark hole for 6 hours at a time, get out there and look around the lake. Come see these. They have to be registered like deer used to be in Wisconsin. That tradition's gone now, which ask me how I feel about that. But
no, because
anyway.
You and I could rant for about an hour and with lots of curse words. Yeah.
That's right. But you still have to register your sturgeon. So you come up to the registration station, the biologist is there, DNR agents are there, they get tagged, they get sexed, it's awesome. And you get to see these things, creatures from dinosaur time that you would never see in your lifetime. Like, the first time seeing those, I was just blown away. I don't know how many thousands of pictures I have of dead hanging sturgeon on the hooks outside of bars, but they fascinate me. I can't stop. Can't.
You're absolutely right. Just the culture. So anyone listening right now is probably listening either on a PC or on their smartphone. Mm-hmm. If you have a Netflix account, pause this episode, go to Netflix, go to the streaming section, and look up The Frozen Chosen. The most incredible documentary. It's a short documentary. Your life will be changed. And then give Carrie Zilka a call for next year's group outing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Do that. Bonfire out on the lake, music, Sturgeon Queen drawing. It's a party for that entire season, especially the opening weekend. You can't get into the bars around the lake. There is not even standing room only. There's no room to get in.
Well, not only that, then they have the live music, the Fishing Without Boundaries. Is that?
Yeah.
Fishing Without Boundaries. They host.
It's amazing what they do for those kids.
Oh, it's awesome. And they host that big music tent, the beer tent there. Did you get over there last year? They had a really good band.
I heard it from where we were eating, but I did not make it out there. I was in tow with the 8-month-old, and
you're like, yeah, there was no dancing and beer for me.
There wasn't a lot. No, not on the ice this year, so it was pretty mellow. But next year, we're going to rip it up a little bit more.
Awesome. Yeah, fireworks. Yeah. Oh, it's just so much fun. You can do ice bowling and ice kiting. It's so cool.
And the art, you have lots of decoy makers and carvers from around the lake. So people have been doing this forever. Mary Lou Snyder, who's just, she's quite the character. I just love that woman. She's my hero, I think.
The stories she tells.
I know. She's such a great storyteller. I did an interview when I was doing Outdoor Bound TV. So there's Ultimate Outdoors Radio, Outdoor Bound TV. But there's a great interview with her on there telling her first spearing story and how she's just so nonchalant, like, no big deal. I've speared like 30-some fish in my life. She's just...
Oh, like nonchalant, like no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. I carve all these decoys. No big deal. Just pretty much amazing. Oh, yeah, that
awesome
effigy that we burn out there, I made that too, yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that. So that, I think, and unfortunately, dinner ran late, so we did not get to go out to the bonfire when they first lit it up. So every year they put together this, like, I don't know, paper mache sturgeon. It's huge. It's like 8 feet long. It's this huge, like you said, this huge effigy. And then they put like Christmas lights in it. And that's how they start the bonfire. It is so cool.
Yes, it's huge. It lights up fast. I think, was it 2 years ago? I didn't see last year's, but I think 3 people could have fit. It was a giant sturgeon head, and you could look out the hole of the mouth.
It was crazy.
The one before that was really neat that she had. It was kind of suspended in the air with a pole, and like you said, it was about 8 feet across. But it looks like a ton of work, like your biggest art project ever, and then we light it on fire.
I know. And they're like, to the sturgeon gods, we sacrifice this effigy.
Sacrifice the sturgeon. Oh, crazy people. But it's amazing. And to know that until all these efforts to restock them came to be, that this was the only place you could do this in the world.
In the world.
To spear a sturgeon. In the world.
And now there's that place in Michigan. Well, they only give out like 6 tags. I don't know if you can really count them. So
that actually, and that would be neat to see, though. I love how they describe it, that they blow a horn, like go, and it's a race to do it, and then as soon as they've got their limit, they blow another big blowhorn, and you're done. That's it. And what did they say? I was talking to some guys, a couple hours it lasted. It's usually done before noon, and they're done.
How fun would that be? That'd be crazy.
It would be crazy, but success rate must be pretty good for the few that get out there to be done that fast. Well, I'm guessing. I don't know. We're going to have to take a road trip.
Wouldn't that be fun? That would be fun. Do they even give out non-resident takes? So for the listeners,
they do.
Wisconsin, I think they sold something like 15,000 licenses last year.
I didn't check on that, but
it was like 13, 14, 15,000 licenses. And 847 fish were taken. So the success rate is pretty low. So when people hear that, you have to understand how exciting it is to come back to do this every year. Otherwise, people wouldn't. It's not just about spearing the sturgeon. And this year, we had 9 fish that were over 140 pounds.
That's amazing. I didn't read that part yet. That's amazing.
140 pounds. 9 of them. In comparison to only 1 over 140 pounds in 2016, 0 in 2015. I mean...
Yeah. That was the year the shad were so bad, wasn't it?
Oh,
they were so... All the fish were really skinny looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So describe... When you do this, like, people have no idea what we do. They say a spear. Is it a stick? I mean, our spears for spearing are like 40 pounds. They're pretty heavy.
Yeah.
30?
People always call them tridents. And I'm like, close.
Oh,
I'll take it. It's not a trident, but...
No.
How can I explain
can't
this
do it.
without getting all, like,
that.
technical on you?
Well, some people, I mean, if we want, I don't know. It's a heavy metal bar, like, what, 5 feet long?
At least.
And the spearhead is, I don't know.
It's a detachable spearhead.
There's different styles.
Yes, usually 4 or 5 prongs.
4 or 5 prongs, so about 8 to 12 inches wide.
Mm-hmm.
And those are kind of like mechanical broadheads, some of them, where they are closed and once they... Yep. And the spearhead detaches and is attached to a rope. Literally, guys, a rope. So once you get that sturgeon, you're pulling it on a rope.
Yep.
To drag it in.
Exactly. It hooks
140-pound fish,
yeah.
hopefully.
Oh my God. And then it's, what is the rule of thumb? Everything out of the shanty, because
yep.
it's coming
Open the door,
and it's
throw everything.
Be wild and crazy and thrashing around. And
I can't wait for that day. It's going to happen.
No kidding. Yeah, because even the smaller ones, even the 60, 80-pound ones, I mean, 80 pounds of fish to fight, that's a big
the small one, she says, at 80 pounds.
I know.
The babies.
They're such a cute, it's only 65 inches. Aww. It's so cute.
Yeah. And they don't sit still all the time. So we throw a decoy down there, and that's where those decoy covers come in, because sturgeon are curious. So they will stop and check things out sometimes. That's what the goal is. But I did see one just skim the corner of my hole. And what is it? They're like 4 feet by 3 feet or 4 feet by 2 feet holes that we're staring down. So it's a little nerve-wracking as well, sitting on a chair facing down this big hole that you're like, okay, that is the bottom of the lake right there.
Right. I know, right?
But,
and
yeah, the one that skimmed the edge, it was so high, it just comes through that 5 second. I looked over at Gretchen, I'm like, that's it. And it was gone. There's no chance.
And it's just frustrating because you're like, do you have any idea how many hours I've invested into that split second that I missed?
And then replay that in your mind. Was it big enough? Wasn't it? Like, Trisha, you saw the tail. That's about all you got, dear. You really didn't have a chance in hell, but you think somehow you were going to do it better or different in your mind. It's pretty incredible.
I think even so for me, the Friday before Sturgeon Spear opening day is almost more fun than the sturgeon spearing. Because you get to cut these huge holes in the ice. And the ice is like 25 inches thick, so you need a really big chainsaw, and it is so fun. It is so fun. So fun.
It is.
It's like the highlight.
That thing out. It is. I feel like a badass for a little while. Yeah, I'm just cutting holes out of the ice out here. No big deal.
I know.
Giant lake.
Just being a badass.
It's just being a badass. I love it. I was mesmerized by that, especially the first year, the pikes and how they push the cakes underneath.
Yes.
And that's the chunk of ice. I just, you don't know how it's done until you're out there watching them do it. And they've done it for so long. When you watch a crew that's been doing this forever, they just all know their job. One person cuts the hole, and next couple guys come and actually stomp on the floating piece of ice that's been cut, and then they grab their pike poles and are pushing them underneath. And it's just so, it's a rhythm. It's like a dance. They just do it and back the shanty on and away to the next, and there's no stopping them. Like, they are on a mission to get everybody set up and get going. And the time they put in ahead of time, that's what I'd like to spend more time doing. Because how do they figure out where to go?
I would love to do some preseason scouting.
Yeah. When they're dipping the lake bottom, they're looking for redworms and shad, and I would love to be a part of that.
I'm going to need to
We need to move.
We need our own shanties for one thing, so that we have...
I see a summer project coming up.
I'm really pretty serious, because once you can...
I am too.
You can store it for like $50 for the year or something, he said.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay,
I know.
That was my concern.
Yeah, right?
What the hell? How am I going to get it to go 4 hours?
Yeah. Yep. For $50, I swear it's like $50 for the year. Because they store them out on them islands, and then you pay him however much to set it, to bring them out for you wherever you want him to put it. But I want my own next year. I don't know if I want a single or a double. I kind of want a double just because it would be nice to have somebody with me sometimes.
Yeah.
You know,
It is.
you
It's
just have a
choice.
little more
I mean, you can always
space.
cover it up if you don't like people. You can be like, no, sorry, my hole's full.
There is that. No, that's where I put the couch. That's not a.
That's
not a spearing hole.
It's an escape route, not necessarily used.
That's the hole that the black Labrador jumped through. Haven't you ever heard that story?
I was just going there. I'm like, that's part of it. All the tall tales. That is.
Oh my God.
Like I said, it's deer season times a million. But tell it. Tell the dog story.
Oh my gosh. And I was like, I almost believed. I don't know. And like, how many times have
Everybody
like the
knows
old
it.
timers have told you the story? I'm like, yeah, I've heard this like 53 times now.
Mm-hmm.
This one time, back when I was sturgeon spearing, I was watching for that sturgeon, and a black Labrador come swimming up through my sturgeon hole, and he jumped into the hole in one of these other shanties and swam underneath and came up. No, he didn't. Shut up. He did not.
They all tell it.
Every one of them, like, go to a bar, get a couple beers in them. All of a sudden, these incredibly fantastical stories come out.
Oh, they're good. They're awesome. I love it.
I do too.
Love it. Tell me another lie. I love every bit of it.
Oh my God, I know, right? Oh my God.
How big was the one they missed?
Or how big was the one? It was so big, it was gonna eat the one that I had on my spear. Whatever. They don't even eat each other. What are you talking about? Oh my gosh.
And
so
some more beer.
fun.
How about the bars where they bring them in? They put them on the pool table.
Oh my gosh, right? Because they're frozen solid, like sturgeon popsicles. We have pictures.
They put just plywood over the pool tables, and guys drag them in on a rope, like literally like it's a dead dog on a rope. They just drag it in the bar and flop it up there, and
oh my God,
it's incredible.
It's hilarious. It's so redneck. I love it. It's so Wisconsin redneck.
Forever. Like,
I know.
And nobody knows it's there.
I can't believe it.
It's such
I really
a personal thing around. But you think about it, it's the lake and everybody that lives there, and how many towns around the lake or around Lake Winnebago. It's amazing.
I know. So Carrie Stollenwerk of the Fond du Lac Area Visitors Bureau puts together. Her and Craig and Aaron, they work really hard. They do a fantastic job on the Women on Winnebago event, which started, I think it had to have been like 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
6 years ago?
I'm thinking
5-6 years ago. It's been a while. Mm-hmm. And they do it right. And they
do.
Treat us like kings and queens. And they've done a really good job promoting the event. And it always cracks me up when she tells me that she's having a hard time finding media folks to come and participate.
No.
Because I'm like...
They don't know what they're missing then.
You guys are nuts. You're nuts. You know what? You're nuts. You're insane. Because this is the funnest time.
It is. And to pass up something so unique. Is the success rate huge? So media people, want to have a successful story, but there's so much more story. Like, I could tell a new story every time we go, and I've never gotten one.
Oh, yeah. The storylines that they provide to you, even, the people you can talk to, I mean, there's storyline after storyline after storyline.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
anybody that passes that experience up is crazy.
Nuts. Whatever. More fish for us.
More for us. That's fine. I'm good with it.
How many years has it been? Yeah. No, that's just not what it's about. Like, it's just not.
Right. It's really not. Would it be great to get one? You bet. Like, the excitement of that now, almost, it's so built up in my mind. So, I don't want to get one and, lose this. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. I do. Like, it'd be really cool
and then
to
you're
get
like
one.
These other...
And then you're like...
These guys out there that get one every year or every couple of years or, I've got about 10 or 15. I'm like, what? And now they're down to one-prong spears to make it difficult. Right. I'm like, make it difficult. I haven't even had a chance to throw my spear. What are you talking about difficult? Yeah, I missed one today with my one-prong spear. I'm like, ooh. What?
And we're like in tears because we're like, I just want to see one.
Or they pass them up.
I know. Oh, it was too small. Well, was it within legal? Oh, yeah. It was 72 inches. What? Wait, what?
Yeah. I needed a bigger one. What?
I know. I already have one that size. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So what about eating them? Have you tried it?
I have. I've had smoked sturgeon, and it's really good.
I have too, and I thought it was amazing. So that's some question I get a lot about the meat. You know, what kind of meat? How would you? I describe it like a steak almost, not like a beef steak, but
I always tell people it's like a shark steak. It's the texture of a shark steak, but it's oilier like salmon.
Right.
So, and it does have pretty. I wouldn't say it's super fishy taste, but kind of like salmon does. It has that. You can tell
it reminds me a lot of
fish.
smoked salmon.
Yes,
that's for sure.
It's got that oiliness, like that the moisture content, but it's got that texture of like a shark steak, where it's kind of tough.
Right. And then to clean them, I don't know. That's something I guess I'd have to look into. I'd love to go where somebody's actually cleaning one once, because that I haven't seen yet. My husband asked me last year, he's like, well, what are you going to do if you get one? I'm like, I'm strapping it to the hood of the van and we're coming home.
We're no, you're not. It like we do a deer.
I'm going to figure it out. He's like, you get it butchered or you don't bring it home. So
that's funny.
I'm going to have to find a butcher shop and check that part out. I'd love to know.
I can't imagine it's that hard. I mean, stake it out like you would a big, no
idea.
There's no fish that big, never mind, that we catch in Wisconsin. Never mind.
Not a clue. I have no idea how to do it. Are there bones we have to miss? Is there, what do you do? I don't know.
Interesting.
I'm guessing there's a technique to it.
Yeah, because it's not like you're filleting a walleye.
No, not at all.
I don't know, but I sure would like the opportunity to mess it up trying to fillet it out.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love that. I want one so bad. I want to be able to have, like, smoked sturgeon for Christmas.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Do you own any decoys?
Yeah. I get one every year.
You do?
That's my souvenir since I don't get a fish. I get a new decoy every year. And my daughter has decided that I have, the first one I got looks like a bullhead almost, real primitive type looking. It's that shape, and then it has a copper fin on the back where the string is attached to, and it's got some little whiskers that are made out of wire. It's all done up. So that one's green, and then I have a red one with black stripes. Daughter picked out a real neon-y one, I think one of the first years she was there. Some are sparkle. I don't have any nice ones. Like, you've got a fancy one.
I don't even use it in the water because I'm afraid it's going to get messed up.
Yeah, exactly. I would be too. I don't think I'd put it in the water.
I know.
And then I have a speckle metallic-y type paint one. And then one of my favorites looks like a sturgeon, and that one's green with white spots. And a whole mess of them.
I know. I have thought about buying a couple of them. They're so neat.
They are. It's my little souvenir so far, since, again, I don't have any successful pictures to share with anybody. But it's like the only sport I'm okay with saying I didn't get something. Like, I wasn't successful.
You just hold up your stringer of decoys and be like, what's up?
Yeah, check this out. But look at this big saw that I got to operate. I don't know.
Right.
It was worth it.
And it's really inexpensive to do, too. Well, so it can be anyway. Like the licenses, the tags, because you do not need a fishing license. So all you have to do is get the tag. And for a resident, it's what, $20, and a non-resident, it's $60.
Yep, $20. Have to do that before the end of October. It's a pre-tag. You can't just get one during season, though.
Yeah, that is true. It's a quote-unquote lottery that everybody gets one if you get it in before October 31st.
It's a great donation to the Sturgeon program. That's
right.
What I say.
That's right. It is.
Get one if you're even remotely interested, just so you have it. And if not, it was a great donation.
And you can hire guys to cut the hole for you for like $15, $20.
And see those signs all over the lake. Ice holes, $20.
I know.
Like, nobody in the world knows what this means unless you're there, but
ice
holes for $20.
Everybody's mind is going into the gutter right now. They're like,
it's exactly double holer. You'll hear these guys talk. I had to edit that video for Outdoor Bound with our editor and the host, and they were dying. They're like, what is he saying? I'm like, it's a 2-hole shack. And they're going, because he says, I saw one come in, and I was sitting in my double-holer with my girlfriend, and I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. There it is.
So funny.
There's no way around this. So like, can we edit that? I'm like, I don't think you can. It's part of the story. We can't take that out.
There's literally no other name for it.
Nope. It is exactly it.
And
there we are, fishing out of his double-holer.
I know. See, people, don't you want to join us? A couple of chicks in the double-holer. With our spears in hand.
It's gone terribly south now.
But that's the fun of it, though, because you can go up and make those funny jokes, ha-ha, wink, and nobody thinks you're, being gross because they get that's not even what you mean.
No,
some non-residents are
complete
like...
seriousness. That's what it is.
Right? Other people are like...
But the other...
That's disgusting. And I'm like, no, you misunderstand.
No, you don't know what I'm saying. Yeah. The other thing is delirium. You want to talk about funny. Like, this is almost torture chamber type of military stuff where you're in a dark room, no light, staring down at what looks like a blank 50-inch TV television screen where you might see a fish, and that's it. This is what you do.
How excited do you get when you see a minnow? How many photos do you take and how many minutes of video?
Come over here, really? Eel pout. Carrie Stolenwerk and I that one year, I don't know how many eel pout came into her hole. And she was like, oh my God, I have to spear this thing. And I come running over. I'm like, really? And I'm like, no, Carrie, no. That wasn't it. But it was fun. It was exciting. And it was entertainment. She had a lot. They just kept coming. And then she had one baby sturgeon as well. That was interesting. And that was legit not big enough to spear for sure. But exciting nonetheless. It took a minute to register what it was and what it wasn't. But things are so distorted underwater. When there is some action, it's pretty neat to stare down. You're staring at the bottom of a lake. You don't really get a chance to do that. And with the house being so dark, the light from outside through the lake illuminates that, so you can see down there, and that's the whole point. We had some pretty atrocious conditions this year, though, with runoff and things melting, and by second, third day, we were barely able to get off the lake. The ice bridges, that's another thing. You want to talk about adrenaline. You're crossing 4-foot, 5-foot ice cracks with running water over a metal plank to get to where you want to get to your shack. I don't know about you, but that was some crazy stuff.
I know. I know. It is, and even just like sitting in the dark house, you're kind of bored, you're trying desperately to stay awake, because, like you said, so the bottom of Lake Winnebago is like nothing. It's like silt and sand and nothing. So you literally are looking at like snow screen on a TV. Yeah. It's nothing.
That's it.
And it's this like milky yellowish green color that's it's very, very, very boring. But then you start hearing the ice making ice, the lake making ice, these monster cracking noises. I'm telling you right now, fast, you want to wake up, you want to be, all of a sudden your heart is pumping. Yeah. Pumping.
You think you're going down.
For real, you are convinced that the house is about to go through the lake.
Yep.
And you're just going with it.
Your hands on the door.
Yes.
You're like, no, I'm not going down, but yes, I am. No, I'm not. No, yes, I am.
Oh my God.
It's an argument with yourself, and you're like, no, I gotta stay put.
Because everything is magnified like 25 times.
Yeah. Right?
Or those guys that'll like come cruising by with their trucks, these big heavy trucks, and they're cruising by at like 55 miles an hour.
Just
everything's shaking. It's so fun though. Everybody listening, you should just come up and experience it with us.
You have to. Even if you don't get out there and actually go into a house, or just come
for the weekend.
For the weekend. Opening weekend especially. Yep. See these fish brought in. You'll never see anything like it ever. there's hooks outside of these bars where you hang up your fish and you go in and have your lunch and a beer, and everybody gets to oogle over your fish. And when you go, you take it down and somebody else hangs their fish up. And it's like deer camp used to be, when everybody would bring their deer on the back of the pickup trucks to the bar or hang them up on a meat pole. That's giant fish that not many people even know are in that lake.
I know, right? But you guys would freak out if you knew what swam around in the waters while you were swimming.
Yes, and they're curious, and a lot of people say that the divers that practice out there, because it is such a big lake, rescue divers always say when they're going down that the sturgeon will come up because of the lights and things like that. So they're super curious and not harmful to you at all. They have literally no teeth. It's just these big sucker lips that vacuum up the garbage on the bottom of the floor of the lake. Right. Dead shad and red worms and.
Yep.
People always ask, well, what do you use for bait? You can't use anything. You can't chum the hole. You can't throw anything down there. It's basically your creative decoy, which could be anything from a toilet seat ring to a fish-looking type decoy. And depending where you are, that's one other benefit, too, of having that decoy is knowing how big is that decoy. And so because you have to, it's got to be 36 inches. I keep wanting to say shoot. Well, we don't shoot it. We spear it.
Right.
But... So you don't want to put a 36-inch decoy down there. That's going to get, tangly. But last year I had one that was 18 inches, so I knew I had to have at least twice that length because, like you said, everything's magnified and looks different. How do you guess the size of a fish underneath water? So gauging it off of that, and then how deep. Sometimes, I know years we've been in 8 feet of water. Last year we were in like 16 feet of water. I think that's where my shack was sitting. It was pretty deep. And it was probably one of the deepest spots of the whole lake.
12.
12? Maybe I don't know.
No,
it was more than I was used to.
It was, I think you're right. It was like 14, 15, 16 out there. Actually, now that I think about it, I think last year we were in 11 or 12. Mm-hmm. Last year we were pretty shallow. So you have to know depth-wise, too. Yep. Where can you see them? Because if the clarity is not good, you can't always see the bottom if it's super deep. So you dip that decoy down as far as you can see comfortably, and then I always bring it back up a couple feet just to try to pull them out of the depths where, if you see that shadow swim by, you can't throw it because you don't know. You don't know how big that fish was. Yeah.
You don't even know if it was a sturgeon.
You're right.
Hopefully it was if it was big. So always keeping that within some other dinosaur down there. I have no idea. Crocodiles. That's about all I can compare them to for length.
No kidding, right?
But there is more to it than just waiting for a while. Like, they're not guaranteed to come, obviously, to your hole, but when they do, oh my gosh. Like I said, just the little flickers of tail, or they'll come in if they're on the bottom looking for shad, and what do they call that when they're I don't know. They stir up the bottom when they're huffing and trying to suck things up. Huffing, There's a word that they call it. I don't know what something else. Do they muddy up your hole, do they say? Is that what they say? I don't know. There's a whole terminology of these people, and you got to be in it, and you pick it all up, but it's been a little while now, so it's gone.
You're right,
I've had that a couple times.
There is like a whole language.
A whole nother world. If you're not in it, you don't know. You have no idea what people are saying. Takes a little bit of acclimation to the culture. You culture shock when you come in and out of it and back to reality.
I know.
It's nuts.
Well, hopefully we'll get some extra people next year. So if you are, especially if you're media, please, please, please let us know. Reach out to Trisha or I. We'll get you hooked up with Carrie Stellenwerk and the Fond du Lac Area Visitors Bureau. And if you qualify, perhaps you can come and hang out with us and have some Bloody Marys at 8 o'clock in the morning.
We're pretty
on the ice.
awesome.
Like, we're seriously so fun. We are. Yeah. So if you're fuddy-duddy, don't bother. No, you stay home.
No, can't. This is not, it's serious, but it's not that serious.
Right.
I mean, we underestimate how dangerous this is.
I know.
Most of the time, I think. I try to describe it to people, and it's the people that have no idea that are like, you do what? I'm like, yeah, I guess that doesn't sound really very safe, does it? At all. We just crossed this ice bridge and that one, and we're in a giant hole. What holds you in? Are you tied in? No.
Right.
No. So you
if
could
I
fall
were
in
to
that
fall
hole.
asleep, I would be. I guess I would be screwed, wouldn't I?
I know. didn't really process that.
Oh, yeah.
But
I know.
it's exciting.
It is. It's worth it. It's worth the experience. It's worth just hanging out with us. It's worth
Absolutely.
Like, y'all just don't
Absolutely.
even know.
I mean, you could pay, but I suppose we'd do it for free. I don't know.
You could buy us a
Maybe.
drink at least. Bloody Marys.
Pretty easy that
Well,
way.
no, we get them
Yeah.
for free too. Never mind. Just
I
come and hang
know.
out.
We had an awesome guide this last year that came around 9 a.m.
Oh my
and brought
God.
Bloody Marys with a beef stick in it and a string cheese. I'm like, for real? This is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Tyler
coming
was
around,
great.
checking on us. That was good.
I know.
Good stuff.
So next year will be our year. Next year, for the love of God, somebody's got to get one. We are
Gotta
due.
happen.
We're due.
Yeah.
But even
Alex
if we don't,
did
it's
have
fine.
one, a smaller one. She wasn't sure. I forgot that part. She did have one in the hole.
Did she?
And she did. And she said by the time she got the words out of her mouth to tell me, she's like, I don't think it's too small. And by the time I turned around and it was too gone, but she didn't throw it, which I'm glad if she was questioning it. But then she sat there the rest of the day. Was it? Wasn't it? Was it? Wasn't it? And I'm
Yeah.
like, if it was that close that you aren't sure, I said, I'm glad you didn't throw it. But that was her first year with a tag. So, of course, I told her that. I'm like, you're going to get one right away because I've only been doing it for how many years, and
Right.
I didn't get one. It kind of works that way with anything. If I bring somebody new in, my husband who didn't trap, mink were my nemesis, and the first year I'm like, well, this is how I trap mink. I didn't get one, and guess who got one the first night in the most ridiculous set that made no sense. Carrie, it made no sense. I'm like, you don't do it that way.
That's
Ta-da.
fantastic. And he's like,
Yeah.
really? Because check it out.
So this worked for me. I'm like, no.
Hilarious.
I know.
Well, cool.
It's okay.
Well, yeah. So everybody listening right now is probably all fired up. They're going to watch the Frozen shows, and they're going to put in their
Yes.
the
Watch it.
application to come
Yes.
and hang out with us. Put in your application by October 31st so you can hang out with us the second Saturday in February of 2018.
That is right. Mark your calendars. Clear your schedule.
That's right. You're going to want to come in Thursday, by the way. You're going to want to take that day off on Friday.
You
Trust
are.
me.
Friday is so much going on.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Exciting.
Well, Trisha, thanks for coming on the show and chatting with me about Sturgeon
Thanks
Spearing.
for asking me. I love it.
I know. We tell the listeners where they can find out more about you and your daughter and all the stuff that you do.
All the stuff. My personal Facebook page is Trisha Steffen. It's open to the public. I am, as I quit this new job, trying to venture into something that suits me now that I, have a 13-year-old and a 1-year-old. So I thought I was sneaking out of that mothery stage and I was going to have a buddy, and now I have a baby again. So I am staking claim on this. I'm a mom, so I'm going to start working on outdoormom.com. So I'm trying to get some adventures into that, and nothing there yet, not really. There's a Facebook page. I throw some stuff up, but I'll be putting some time into that this summer and getting that rolling. Otherwise, Ultimate Outdoor Radios and occasionally Outdoor Bound TV. You'll see some adventures on there. We just did bow fishing, I think, last week's episode for that one. So
Cool.
good stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. I think you should start a podcast. I think you should start the
I talked
Outdoor
with-
Moms podcast.
That has been discussed this past week, talking with my husband a little bit. So then you
should
got
do
a hold of me and said, you want to talk sturgeon spearing? And I'm like, this is starting to come together. This
See?
is starting to come together.
I
So,
can help.
yeah, we'll
You
have to
need
talk
anything.
podcasting.
Yes, you need anything, let me know. If you haven't noticed,
Love.
I might be slightly obsessed and even
Yeah,
more
just-
obsessed with helping people start their own. So
That's awesome. I need help. We're going off on another tangent. Should we
I
just
know,
do a
right?
DIY, how to
know.
have a podcast?
how to be an outdoor female communicator?
That's right.
No. All joking aside, thank you so much for coming on, and
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll be hearing from you again.
Absolutely.
All right.
Anytime.
Thank you, Trisha. And that'll do it. Thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to find the show on iTunes. Just search for Huntfish Travel Podcast and hit the subscribe button. You can also follow me on social media. You can find Huntfish Travel on Facebook, or you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Carrie Zylka, CarrieZylka.